Right, it's going to be the second part of the induction brewing. Mainly just today I wanted to show you the boil. I've done a split brew day today where I've done the mash the night before, let it sit. I was going to do a 90-minute, take it off, drain the bag to save less tidy up the next day, but I just fell asleep, left it all night. So I'm going to leave that. That's been sitting overnight. I've drained it this morning, pulled the bag, and then the boil's just on the go now. I don't know if you can actually hear the noise it makes. It's more the noise of the fan, because there's a fan that it sucks air in through the bottom where there's like a metal filter, and then it blows it out the back. And I found out through a chat online that with that filter on it, the metal filter, it's best to keep that very clean. Obviously, because where it's sucking in the air, obviously it gets dust and stuff caught around that sort of metal gauze sort of thing. You can pull that out, clean it, give it a good clean, keep it clean. Otherwise, you risk the chance of it kind of blowing out switches and whatnot inside the unit. And make sure there's plenty of airspace around it. I mean, ideally, I'd have it on its own bench if I had it in my garage or whatever, and that, and there'd be a lot more space. But I think as long as you've got sufficient space for the hot air to blow out the back, it's not going to be a problem with that. Obviously, I don't, even the chap I spoke to that knew a lot about these recommend that you shouldn't exceed the pot size on the actual burner. But the other chap, the Rock Doc on the forums, has done it for a long time and it's been okay. There is another issue, I think, with having a temperature controller or a PID linked to it, is that it's a lot more complicated than just sort of plug it in and using the probe, because from what I found out is that on full whack at 3 kilowatts it's constantly firing the heat. Any lower, I think, and on the lower settings it pulses, so it's on and it switches off. So I think PIDs have to be kind of wired in sort of to the insides of the actual unit, and I've got a chap sort of working on sort of that idea, because some of that stuff's beyond me, so he knows a lot more about it than I do, and he's going to look into getting that sorted. So possibly if he gets that up and running. I know the people in the German forums have wired PIDs to them and things like that, but they obviously have a lot more technical know-how than what I do. It also seems that you can't just crank it up to 3 kilowatt, have it on a timer plug and have it come on in the morning, because that seems to blow the unit. The same chap tried that and it blew a unit, I think, so it's not recommended to be having the unit switch on at full power. So I think that's probably linked to do with the PID. There needs to be some kind of level of power flowing through it to keep it semi-awake for when the temperature changes, I guess, because if it cranks it up it could blow something inside. I'm guessing that's kind of the general gist of it. One other thing I wanted to highlight as well is, it hasn't seemed to have affected my one, but I read online that you have to be careful with using digital thermometers because of the ferromagnetic, I don't know, the science behind how the induction works can affect the actual temperature reading on the thermometer. So originally I used like a spirit thermometer, and I checked the two against each other, just to see if it affected it, but it didn't seem to. I've used that in a separate source, checked the temperature, it all seems fine. I think it's probably more if you're cooking and the induction pot was a lot lower and it was a saucepan and you was putting a digital thermometer there and it's a lot closer to where the actual heating element is, it might throw the digital thing out. But I think when you're putting it just in the top of your pot and measuring, it's not really an issue. Well, it hasn't been for me anyway. Again, last night when I mashed, probably took from 14 degrees water, there was 30 litres of water in there last night. Took just under the half hour again. It probably was less, but I have to keep taking the lid off to check the temperature, because at the moment I haven't got the dial thermometer to put on there, so I can just leave it and sort of set it and forget it. So until then I'll be taking the lid off periodically. I think that's about it. I'm doing a Top Dog Stout today from that book, but it seems a little bit funny. It's for a stout, the colour looks a little bit sort of lighter. I mean, the boil's yet to take place, but it seems very light in colour. Then I started looking on forums a bit, and it found out that the hop, the amount of hops on there was a lot lower. I think it's only 17 grams for the whole boil, and that seemed too low. So I decided to up that a bit after a lot of other people have up theirs. So I think I'm going about 38 grams now. I'm going to do a 19 litre batch, so I can stick 9 in the keg and bottle the other 10 litres, and I'm going to do it no chill, because I think stout seems to work pretty well with the no chill because of the hop that you use, and that doesn't seem to really affect it too much. So Right, I'll cut back when the boil's underway. It's going to be a 90-minute boil. I don't think we're too far away from getting up to temperature. It only dropped from 65 last night down to 56 this morning. So it really doesn't take a lot of time to get it back up to temperature, you know, near to the boiling point. And then I'll show you the boil, because I think that's what most people wanted to see, is how well the induction does boil. I think I got a little bit of footage when I did a bigger volume than I have done this week. This is going to be 28 litres boiling. But I think when I was boiling about 35, it was ferocious still. I think I'll have to try and dig out footage. I filmed it on my phone, and you know, it didn't come out as good as what I'd like. But I'll definitely show you the boil just so that you can see. Right, hopefully you can see that. This is just starting of the boil. The 90 minutes of the top dog stout on the induction, and you can see that that is very lively. Certainly not a simmer, so which you can see when it's up to the top of the pot, or near the top of the pot, you're gonna have to be careful for boil overs, which you can actually even turn it down a little bit. It can get quite ferocious. So if he wasn't convinced before about if induction can give you a good boil, that's pretty much it.